It all comes down to this one. Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. We did the 63 SG, the 59 Les Paul Standard, the Les Paul Custom, and previously the Carina Explorer in Flying V. So that leaves one last one for the Epiphone Inspired by Gibson Custom Shop series. And so far, I would say the 59 Les Paul is the winner, but this one, I don't know, the specs look pretty good on it. Look at that. Alex Lifeson vibes, right? Now, this one doesn't have the vibrola on it, or it doesn't have the baritone like his signature model did, but it's so cool, right? So this is an ES-355. If you're not familiar with what that is, think 335, but upscale to like a Les Paul Custom. As far as the appointments go, you get the super ultra multiply binding around the top, you get the ebony fretboard. These still have the real mother of pearl inlays, but we've got the blocks, and then you get the super ultra fancy face of the headstock. And again, being an Inspired by Gibson Custom Shop guitar, we have the open book style Gibson headstock. So first things first, straight out of the box. I thought this one was going to be gloss like the Epiphone Custom, but no, it's got that whole VOS finish thing to it again. In fact, I'll put my mic up to it, listen to it. It's kind of chalkboard feeling, but you know, after I had that full glossy custom one, I've come to appreciate the Epiphone VOS, and if it's not to your style, I have heard that people have had success in buffing this up. So I think I might do some light testing to that today, just to see if that's true. Well, let's go ahead and learn the rundown of this. As with many of these, they are $1,299 brand new. Does that seem expensive for an Epiphone? Yes, however, you get the open book headstock shape, you get really nice pickups. This is another run that has the Custombucker, so those are like $500 pickups on their own. And they come in two main finishes, cherry red and classic white. However, there is a Gibson.com exclusive of ebony VOS. Also, it's important to note that these are 59 in style, so we get the really long nose guard that extends past the ABR1 style bridge. But besides just our guitar, you also get a hardshell case with these. Lifton inspired, it's got that pink interior. I would say the 355 case gets it a little bit closer than that Les Paul. As far as the exterior, it looks the same. We saw that Epiphone Inspired by Gibson Custom on the backside. But here's what the original box tag looks like for historical preservation. But you also get a case key, some Epiphone hang tags, stickers, and that's it. Oh, and some wood shavings. If you buy one of these and you're like scared something got broken in transit and you've got all these wood shavings everywhere, don't worry, it just comes out of the F-holes. It's just stuff that they weren't able to fully clean out. Even the full-on Gibson ones have that. Now, to be honest, I think this one has an unfair advantage being the last one because I've had some time to warm up to the quirks, especially to the VOS white finished ones. Because just like that SG Custom, cosmetically this bugs me. For whatever reason, only on this finish, the bindings really just don't match each other, where the headstock binding meets the neck's binding. Something about this white coloring makes this have like a different hue, whereas this looks more like bone. But this thing looks really fancy. Like, I almost wonder if it would look better with just a black pick guard, because then you got this whole black and white theme going on. But just like the spec sheets say, it does have a big 50s rounded neck profile. So it's kind of like that 58 reissue that we just recently reviewed, where it was the first version that had the unbound neck. Because, unfortunately, unlike those other ones, I don't have the real Gibson counterpart to compare it to today. But straight out of the box, this feels like a very quality instrument. However, not gonna lie, I do see some QC things that we'll talk about over on the Workbench, so let's head there now. So first things first, if you happen to try one of these at a store or you pull it out of the case and you don't like this kind of scratchy feel, there's a few different ways to fix that. So first, I grab a Viva brand paper towel or any type of soft cloth. If you just take this and rub it over the guitar just a couple of times like this with moderate pressure, it goes from sounding like this to this. It loses that gritty texture. However, on the SG, we did a polishing test to the body, so I thought we would do it a little bit differently this time. And I went ahead and polished the headstock and filmed the in-between processes. So at first, you can see how it left from the factory. It's that nice dulled over finish. It had that kind of sandy texture to it. The mother of pearl still dances all right enough, but you don't get a lot of light reflections. Just enough to make it look like that kind of worn-in old guitar. But our next segment here is after I use Meguiar's Scratch X. It's a slightly more abrasive cleaner, but not enough to like burn through the lacquer or anything like that. This kind of gives you an interesting in-between. It's very smooth to the touch. It reflects the light just a little bit more. I would almost say this could be the Goldilocks, because our next video segment here shows it after I've polished it again with the Virtuoso Premium Polish. So here you can see the blacks are really reflective. It's nearly almost a full gloss. And remember, there's other products you can use to take it all the way up even more. You can always keep going if you want it even glossier than this, but I would say that's pretty good. But what's funny to me is the neck actually comes from the factory with a slightly different feeling finish. I think they might actually slightly buff that even before it leaves the factory, because it does not feel as chalkboardy as the body. Well, ultimately, I would suggest towel rub down finish or just the light cleaner, because once you go to that full polish, you start to lose the benefits of a satin style finish. But now that we've got that out of the way, let's verify our specs. So sure enough, no bait and switch here, Custombucker in the neck, as well as in the bridge. I get readings of 7.88 in the bridge position, 7.98 in the neck, and just for fun, 3.96 in the middle. Our neck pickup cavity looks like so. You've got your QR code as well as your serial number and the model identifier. But if you were to remove that, you can see your long neck tenon joining into your body. And there's pretty much the only place you're going to see that mahogany neck. So you can see the type of lumber that they're using. And we can also verify the maple center block. And then, hey, the bridge pickup cavity, we're lucky to see the spruce bracing. And we indeed can see the maple poplar maple top. We can also see some sort of a sign off over here. But unlike the Les Paul Custom in this family, this one has the ABR1 style bridge because it's a specific year reissue. So the screws point this way, and the back is marked B2. But it has the slotted screws and the thumb wheels, but they're mounted with a bushing in the body. So not exactly as an ABR1 is, but from a couple feet back, it looks pretty good. Now, if you're wondering why these move independently of the thumb wheels, it's because sometimes on ABR1s, depending on how you set it up, these can be taller than the bridge, and then you kind of poke yourself so you can sink that deeper into the guitar if needed. And our bridge is lightweight aluminum, looks like so. But I did notice this, there's like a black smudge in my finish. I mean, it's not always noticeable, but I was hoping that would clean off, and I had no success in that. And just like on that SG, the white finish is rather unforgiving. You can see where it covers over the binding right there, and even a little bit on this side. But inside the F-hole, we've got a sticker, IGC, inspired by Gibson Custom, 1959, 355, with our serial number. As far as our controls go, regular 3-way toggle switch, 2 volumes, 2 tones. I will say the F-hole side profile, they look a little bit sloppy. I don't know how to really say it better than that. If I remember correctly, I think the Gibsons get like blacked out on the edge, and that's why it looks a bit strange. Because you can see the whole maple poplar, maple sandwich stuff going on. And the white finish is just so unforgiving on small things like that. But now we can move on from our pressed body. We've got that mahogany neck that we were talking about with a real ebony fretboard. Now if you get it in the light, you can see there's like tooling marks or something going on in many locations. But for me, the thing I was talking about that I noticed straight out of the box is a little bit of sloppy craftsmanship along the edges of the binding. It looks like they were trying to roll the edge of the binding or something, or maybe this happened during the fretting process. But it just caused the edge of the binding to turn black in so many different areas. And I would say the fret edges probably could have been rounded over a little bit more. Like you can see right here where they've caught something. But it's not like it's gonna cut you or anything. But at this price, I feel we could have did a little bit better. And now we can move on to our newly beautified headstock. Just remember, keep in mind, yours is not going to look like this out of the box. It'll take you about maybe 5 minutes to hand polish it. And if you got some sort of a rotary polisher, you might even be able to get better results than this. I feel it really brought the mother of pearl to life. So even if you like the satin kind of VOS finish everywhere else, maybe just consider doing it on the headstock for the extra blinginess. But here you can see that that centerpiece is definitely made of 3 pieces of mother of pearl. You've got a small block right there, a slightly larger one, and then a huge one in the center. So while you are getting real mother of pearl, they're making it out of multi-pieces. At least for your custom emblem, these actually just appear to be one piece. That is a really nice looking one. I've said it in every review, putting mother of pearl on Epiphone, that was a good move. It really transformed them. As far as our neck specs, we get 1.68 inches at the nut. That increases to 2.08 by the 12th. And then I told you it was a chunky neck. 0.95 first fret neck depth, which is crazy. Then 1.03 by the 12th. Here's a look at that neck profile. First fret, 12th fret. It's just nice and rounded and C. But since I have the stock tuners off right now, I figured we might as well show you those. Grover branded. Here's a look at our cool long pickguard. It's meant to look like a tortoiseshell one. It's got a cool see-through aspect to it. Here you can see how they construct it. with the salmon block on the back. That just gets glued on. Now this is kind of a nitpick thing, but if you look right here, the binding doesn't really line up in the slightest where they splice those pieces together. Here's a look at our historically inspired truss rod cover. It's got those wide beveled edges to it, but still a 3-screwer. So here she is all strung up. I was so ready to be fully satisfied with one of these new Epiphones, but... So when I got it, the truss rod needed tweaked. There was the seldom seen up bow. So I've got it straight with just a little bit of relief right now, hoping that was going to fix my problem, but no. So this fret right here has to be high. So okay, you can fix that with a little bit of spot leveling, but then I noticed something else. There are cuts in the fret wire. That can happen in shipping, where the string gets pressed up against it and it suffers a fall in the box or something. It can slightly mar it. Now, is it playable as is? Yeah. But you can hear how it catches. I noticed that on a few of these higher up strings too. Sometimes another thing it can be is at some point in time in the shipping process, this fret lifted up. So I did tap it back into place just to see if that's what it was, and no dice there. But moving on to the backside, all the wiring gets fished through the bridge pickup cavity. So we don't have any type of a back plate here. So it makes it hard to modify these guitars, but hey, that's what's nice. You've already got the Custombuckers and Mallory capacitors and upgraded CTS pots in here. You don't ever have to worry about that. So this is one of those models where it's really worth it to buy the already upgraded version, because that's who these are for. Gigging musicians who don't want to take the big full custom shop thing out on the road, because this is easy to replace if it gets stolen and less expensive. Or B, somebody who's going to buy an Epiphone anyways and upgrade it themselves. This saves you the hassle of doing that. It looks like we're rocking 3-ply binding along the back. And you can see a small area right here on the binding where it looks like it didn't get that matted over finish on it. It's a little bit more white. There's another area of that right here. It's a little bit hard to see. I see a couple more along this edge too, so not perfect in the fit and finish department. And now we can run up the back side of the neck till we get to our handcrafted in China sticker and then our Grover tuners. Then no serial number on this one. It's just in that sticker in the F-hole, but we do get the double diamond. But all said and done, how much does this one weigh? 8 pounds, 10 ounces. Let's go ahead, plug it in, and hear how it sounds. First impressions, I think it sounds good. I did notice one thing strange though. Listen to the neck pickup. If you push the toggle switch, there's like a secret hidden one. Okay, at first I thought I had unlocked something special, but I don't think this toggle switch is actually selecting the neck. That does sound like the middle now that I think about it. we are actually getting the neck pickup now. Now that we know all about the Epiphone Inspired by Gibson Custom Shop ES-355, what are my final thoughts? Unfortunately, I got sent a dog. Many different issues. Some of it I do believe was shipping. So I guess if you think about it, if you had enough of a jostle to indent your frets, it's very possible the three-way toggle switch got damaged in the exact same process. So don't let this review scare you away from this model, because it feels so good, especially after you take a little bit of time to get rid of some of the sandpaper chalkboardy feel off of it. Like, you don't have to go full gloss. In many ways, I've actually come to finally appreciate this unique VOS finish that they do, once you know just to kind of buff it down a little bit. Because the downside of making them full gloss is then they just become fingerprint magnets, and that always bugs me personally. But this, it's a nice finish. It will take a little bit to get used to, but out of all the new Epiphone offerings, I would say this is probably the best of them because, hey, it's got the custom buckers, it sounds awesome, it looks the part. Because previous to today, I was really digging the 59, but my biggest complaint was it still looked like a cheaper Epiphone. They just didn't quite get the colors right on the burst. And you know, the whole poly finishes and whatnot. It's easier to make a solid white look good, but they did this way better than the SG Custom. So if you were trying to figure out which one of the new Epiphones you should get, I would honestly suggest this one. Maybe not this exact one within playable spec, and I think you're gonna be really happy. So all right, troglodytes, I hope you enjoyed tonight's episode and it helps you make an informed decision. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll send this one back to the dealer, and I'll see you tomorrow on the next episode. Take care.